Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing well on this lovely Wednesday. My name is Olivia Harp, and I want to welcome you to today's session, Creative Solutions for Housing Affordability in a Changing Market. We are so excited to have Phyllis Caldwell-George here, hailing from sort of kind of my hometown down in the Piedmont. She's down in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. She has a lot of great information to share with you. And I just am excited for this very casual conversation. We want you to feel free to use the question and answers box to share reflections, ask questions, stories, share solutions, best practices, all of that. We're all here to learn together. And I'm really thankful that we have Phyllis Caldwell-George with us today. So again, welcome to Creative Solutions for Housing Affordability in a Changing Market. And so before we hop in, we want to just do a quick Q&A icebreaker. So in the questions box, we want to get to know everyone in the room. We want everyone to get comfortable with one another, and just get that networking going, right? And so I have an icebreaker that has absolutely nothing to do with your role, your organization, and all of those important challenges that we're trying to address in our work every day. But I just want you in the Q&A box just to describe the perfect Saturday. And Phyllis, before we do a formal introduction, I'll allow you to respond as well and share what your perfect Saturday looks like.
My perfect Saturday is doing nothing. I like to power down on the weekend, relax, do nothing. That's my perfect Saturday.
Okay, yeah, I think we are in the same boat with that one. I love to do nothing, have a slow start to my Saturday, have some coffee, maybe some music, and
Yes.
maybe make a nice breakfast if I feel like it. But Uber Eats and DoorDash has my heart on Saturday mornings.
Yes. I'm gonna get the breakfast done, but I like to turn the music on, get some
Mhm.
relaxing things going. If I'm going to be cleaning up, doing all the things, opening up the doors, letting some air in. So I am ready for the spring and everything that the summer brings. So yes, come on,
Absolutely.
hot weather.
Yes, and speaking of some hot weather, it looks like Dinette is in a nice climate. We have eating some barbecue with a glass of wine. That sounds
Mm-hmm.
very relaxing. Yeah, sounds good. No alarm, tea in bed while reading, a walk in the park, and more reading on the porch.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of constructive do nothing time, right?
I'm glad I'm not alone.
Okay, so thank you all for responding, and please feel free to keep those responses coming through the Q&A. I'm going to move forward past myself very quickly because my name is Olivia Harp. I think you all know me. I'm the program manager for network building here at Prosperity Now, and I'll be here to move this conversation along and interact with Phyllis here. Today's speaker is Phyllis Caldwell-George. She is the president and CEO of Financial Pathways of the Piedmont and has been with the organization for 26 years. That is no easy feat. Starting as a financial counselor in 1998 before becoming the housing director and later overseeing its financial management, debt counseling, and housing programs. Before leading the agency, she also directed the Center for Home Ownership. So now you're starting to see exactly why she is here for today's webinar. And that center has helped hundreds of families achieve home ownership through a nationally recognized pre-ownership education course. And so without further ado, I'd like to formally introduce Phyllis. And as we ease into today's discussion, I know that you've done so much in your career. I know that that bio does not do give all of your hard work justice. So if you'd like to share a little bit more about yourself and your role and what you do at FPP, we would love to hear it.
Yes, thanks, Olivia. And thank you for having me today. And thanks for everyone joining in. My work with the agency it'll be 27 years in June. So I'm coming right up on that
Wow.
anniversary. But everything that we do here is really about increasing the financial health and well-being of our community members. And so our programs and services are focused in about 4 different areas, but my heart is really in affordable housing and home ownership. As the founding director of the Center for Home Ownership, we actually brought a group of individuals and organizations together and identified that we actually had a need in our community. And when it came to purchasing a home, many families and individuals really didn't know where to start. And so we came together collectively to form the program, and we've been successful over the years. And that was in 2002. And as a result of that, we've helped thousands, over 2,000 or so homeowners to become successful. But we also are able to assist them on the back end when it comes to default, delinquency, and all the other things. So housing is where my heart is, even though I oversee all of our program areas. And we have a senior financial care program. We actually have a representative payee program where we actually are service the payee for about 455 clients, but we also do the heart of our work, which is financial management, financial counseling, credit counseling, and financial education. So that's about who we are and what we do, and how I've come into this role. This is my life work, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah, and it shows, and I'm sure you saw the celebratory emoji come up because you guys are doing amazing work, and I'm so happy that people are like you are starting to talk a little bit more about like the holistic approach to supporting affordable home ownership. Not just getting people into their homes, getting people with the keys, but what it takes to address the entire life cycle of having a
Right.
home and an affordable housing. And so we'll start off because we do have to talk a little bit about challenges if we are going to discuss creative solutions. So what are some of the biggest barriers to housing affordability that you see in your work?
Winston-Salem, North Carolina is no different from any area that we see where housing affordability has become a challenge. We see that families are not able to not just pay their rents, but they're definitely out of the market when it comes to home ownership. And so when we started, even with the center back in 2002, it was the flip side. We were trying to develop a pool of qualified buyers. We had enough housing stock. The challenge then was that, hey, we've got these developers and builders, they're building affordable housing, but we don't have individuals and families that are actually ready to purchase. And so now that challenge has changed. We have people that are ready and able to purchase. They've overcome their credit challenges. They've overcome the issue of down payment assistance, debt, and also their credit scores. And so they are mortgage ready, but they really can't find homes that are in their market. So we're on two different spectrums from 2002 until now. And so the challenges still remain the same, but we still continue to press forward with the importance of that and making sure that everybody understands and knows that affordable housing is security for everyone and for our entire community.
Yeah, absolutely. And while I'm like, after listening to all of that, I'm so eager to jump straight into solutions. I know that the work that you do down in the Piedmont requires like a community based approach. It requires a whole lot of different parties coming together to address these challenges. So before we hop into those success stories and highlights that I'm really excited to hear about, I want you to talk a little bit about how your organization has partnered with other stakeholders to address housing challenges.
Right. So one of the very unique things about our community is that when it comes to housing and home ownership, our agency really does serve as the central hub for all things housing, all things home ownership. So our local government, both our city, our county, also our partners and developers and realtors and lenders, they know that if someone is going to purchase a home, that the Center for Home Ownership should be their first stop. And so we get a lot of referrals from our partners because they know that we're going to do the work in terms of preparing individuals for home ownership. We don't have a lot of competition in our area when it comes to, hey, there's another organization that's providing this particular service. We are the only HUD-approved housing counseling agency locally. And so that means that even if you are providing a housing program, like we have an organization that has an IDA program, they send their clients here. We provide that initial action plan for them, and then their success coaches use that to actually help to prepare the individuals and families for home ownership. Habitat for Humanity, they send all of their clients here to prepare for homeownership as well. They all go through our home buyer education classes. Our lenders, they send their clients here to prepare for homeownership as well. When they identify that, hey, this person is not quite ready, they've got some challenges or some barriers to homeownership, they will refer them to our Center for Homeownership specifically so that they can get prepared. And then once they're ready, they return back to that lender, that financial institution, to actually get their mortgage. And the same thing happens with our real estate agents as well. So we say that we spend our time preparing so that our partners don't have to spend as much time in that particular space. And so our work is really in supporting our community, but also supporting that network of housing service providers. And so that makes their work much easier. And our space is really around, this is preparing you to become mortgage ready, so that once you get into that particular space, you don't have to worry about that denial. You are ready. And so now it's just a matter of working with all the others to find the perfect home.
Okay, yeah, and I'm sure that's very reassuring for people who walk through your doors, right, looking to find the perfect home for them and their family. So, thank you so much for sharing a little bit more about your approach and also what it takes to be like a hub, right? What
Right.
it takes to organize everything that's going on in your community around ensuring housing stability and housing affordability. And so now we'll hop into a few of your highlights and success stories. So I'd love to hear maybe one or two or a success story from your community that highlights an effective housing solution.
One of the things that we're very fortunate enough is that we also work with North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. And they have what's called the Community Partners Loan Pool Program. With that, an individual can get up to $50,000 in down payment assistance. And so we also are members of that. And so if someone comes through our office, we're able to support them with that down payment assistance. But in addition to that, our county also offers that same program, but they have some additional support. The city has up to $15,000 in down payment assistance, and then the county has another $20,000. So someone can get up to $85,000 in down payment assistance just by purchasing in our community. And oftentimes when someone comes into our office and we see that, yes, they're mortgage ready, but they may not be necessarily a match in terms of their affordability with what the market is. And so we're able to fill that gap and be able to assist them. And so the purchase price for new homes can go up to $290,000. And then if it's an existing home, it can be about $257,000. We have been fortunate. We've had some builders that are willing to actually build in that particular market. The city has also stepped up where they are actually offering lots for $1. And so we have developers that are able to purchase those lots, build affordable housing on those dollar lots, and we're able to get people into homes that way. And so it really takes creative solutions to make housing affordable. And it really takes all of our partners and everybody invested in affordable housing, because it's not that one person can do anything alone or one entity can do anything alone. It really takes a community. And you definitely have to have city, county government involved in that process as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I'm thinking, I know you've been with FPP for 26 going on 27 years. And so I'm sure you've navigated a lot of shifts and changes. And sorry, Phyllis, we're going a little bit off the track
It's okay.
just to get more about your approach and your perspective as it relates to this work. So I know when you're at an organization for that long, you navigate a lot of different shifts, changes, socio-political eras, all of that good stuff. So I'm curious to know, what does adaptability look like in your work? What does it look like to navigate changes and shifts? I'm going to keep saying that because
Yes.
yeah.
So, I think that we have a saying around the office to, remain open, that we respond to our community needs based on what they are at the time. And we have definitely had to shift over time in terms of how we work with clients. Also, not only that, but also making sure that our community and also our council members. Our mayor is also abreast and understands how our market and how the dynamics of home ownership is changing. And so as the market changes, how home prices increase, we knew that we had to have additional dollars that were able to support our homeowners. We also knew that our homeowners had to have more money, more funding in place as well. They're having to save more, interest rates being changing. And so, of course, that decreases the amount that a person can actually borrow. When I bought my house in 1998, the interest rates were where they are now, at that 6.75%. But back in during the pandemic 2022, interest rates lowered as far as they could go. And so things change all the time. And so we have to really be responsive to where we are in terms of funding, what lenders are offering, what the interest rates are, what's in our market, and shift our programs as that allows. We were not originally involved in the down payment assistance program. Our county was the only entity that actually offered that. So we decided, because clients would come into our office, we would prepare them for home ownership, but then we would have to send them somewhere else for down payment assistance. So we had decided that, hey, we will actually offer that down payment assistance ourselves. As a result of that, more money comes into our community from Housing Finance Agency to be able to support that down payment assistance as well. So it's really about shifting and adopting to whatever the market trends are, but being open to do so, because it's not always business as usual. It's business as business as business.
Okay, I think I'm gonna use that that quote a lot. I'll be sure to give you credit. We're just gonna shift a little bit because I know the FPP offers a lot of services regarding financial counseling and education. So I'd like to get a little bit more insight from you about how those two components play a role in supporting housing stability.
Right. So, we believe that um, you can't know where you're going, and you can't develop a roadmap unless you know where you are. And so no matter what service we offer, the financial counseling is the cornerstone for that. So that means that anyone that comes into our office, we're going to take a look at their income. We're going to take a look at their debt, and we're going to take a look at how they're spending their money. And that alone is able to be, a good eye opener to, what is the different path that you need to take to get to whatever goal it may be, whether it's home ownership, whether it's saving for college, whether it's just simply increasing your credit score, or just saving. So, it's really about, okay, we need for everyone to understand where they are financially. And then from there, we develop an action plan that's going to get you to whatever that particular goal may be. We also understand, because oftentimes clients come into our office, they may be in some financial crisis. It may be that they are delinquent on their mortgage. They may be in jeopardy of eviction or foreclosure. And so we have to find solutions to those particular issues first. And we believe that you cannot financial counseling yourself out of crisis. You've got to address the crisis first, and then we go back upstream to equip them with the tools so that they don't have to end up in our office again. I always tell our staff that our goal is to work ourselves out of business, but we know that financial challenges are going to exist. But we want to make sure that our community has everything and all the resources that they know they need so that they can be successful with whatever their goals may be. And so it really is about us laying that foundation. And so we do a lot of supportive work with our other community organizations, other nonprofits, to provide financial education, either for their staff or for whatever programs that they may be offering as well. Last year, we initiated a program for emergency savings. And so a person comes through our office, they receive financial counseling, they receive financial education, and then we actually match their savings. And so they save $250, and then they also get an additional $500. Because what we found, the trend is that if someone had an emergency, they needed a battery, they needed a new set of tires, they didn't have emergency funds set aside. So we started that particular program simply to address that. And so those funds, match savings programs exist all over, but you really don't see them for emergency savings. You see them for home ownership or for small business, but you don't see them for emergency savings. And so again, just adapting to our community. And then the other thing that we also started this year was the Home Buyers Club, because we found that, okay, being in a group is really inspiring because you have other people that are working towards that same goal.
Yeah.
And so we started that last fall. We'll have that graduation in June, and then we'll start another set in the fall. And we actually got funding from several financial institutions and also foundations to support that work as well. So we're really excited about those two things. And then even with our match savings programs, we have a number of seniors that are involved in that as well. And so even with our seniors, they need emergency savings as well. And so we're excited to have them as part of the program, and they're excited to be in it as well. You're never too late. It's never too late to learn financial skills. So we address everyone where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I think of organizations like yours and either other community-based organizations such as Vita Sites, right? A lot of a lot of the conversations come back to how do we get people through our doors, right? How do we build community trust? Home ownership sometimes can be scary, right? And so as a result, people may just, kind of stay away from it, may not see it as something that's a possibility for them. What does it look like with your organization building trust, not only with your stakeholders, but with community members that you support? I'm really interested to know a little bit about just like the mindset or approach that your team takes, or messaging or different outreach efforts. Like, how do you get people in the door?
So we've been very fortunate with that, Olivia, because we have the Center for Homeownership has been around, since 2002. So
Mhm.
we've got a 23-year history in the community. They see the product of our work because we get a lot of referrals from friends, family, co-workers that say, okay, I went through this program, I was able to buy a house. And so that trust is built there.
Mhm.
It is pretty inherent because of the work in our community. So we don't have to do a lot of marketing of that. And again,
Yeah.
because we are that one-stop shop, and then because we're also the only HUD-approved housing counseling agency in the community. But that does not stop us from listening to our clients, and it doesn't stop us from responding to trends that we see. And so we're always trying to make sure that we're evaluating where we are, getting feedback from them. Everybody that comes through, we do surveys. As part of our strategic plan, we actually sent surveys out to all of our old clients and new clients as well to see, okay, what happens when you come here and what keeps you coming back? And overwhelmingly, everyone was pleased with what we were able to offer. They wish that we could do more in terms of, of course, down payment assistance.
Mhm.
And, that helps us to identify, hey, we have a need to grow capacity internally. And so we have been able to reach out to our foundations and say, hey, we need to do a little bit more in terms of like financial education. Our evaluation is telling us that we need to do more outreach, that so that people know more about us, more so on the financial counseling end, more so than the home ownership end, because they know us for that, but they don't know us for this other particular service. So we really try to listen to what our community is saying. And so we've just built trust over the years by just being a positive solution to housing affordability.
Okay. Yeah. And I had to ask that question because it's something that comes up a lot when we're
Yes.
talking to representatives from organizations similar to yours. And so this is just a quick note to the audience members. If you have any questions at all whatsoever, please use the Q&A box to submit them to Phyllis. We're going to head into the Q&A session after this last question. So please let your voices be heard. Even if you just want to share best practices, strategies, solutions, or just reflections. We definitely want to hear from you, and there will be another opportunity for you to chime in as well. So last question, Phyllis, and I do not want this conversation to end because I feel like I'm learning so much. But I do want to hop into another area that we haven't discussed just yet. So I would like to get your thoughts about how policymakers and local leaders can better support affordable housing initiatives.
I don't think that we definitely know that there needs to be better support, right? And there has to be, that political will to understand how important housing stability is, what communities look like with and without affordable housing.
Mhm.
And so for us, it's a matter of making sure that we are in the same rooms with our policymakers, that they know who we are and the importance of our work. There have been numerous studies, especially in our community, around housing, what's needed. We've had an action plan. There's been so many things done. I don't think that we don't have to study anything anymore. We just have to move the needle, and we need to make sure that there's dollars to support that. And so that means that we have to go in and we have to have conversations. We're fortunate enough to have a number of task force here locally around housing. And so being involved in that, we have what's called the Asset Building Coalition. They're doing a lot of work around housing as well. And so that helps us to, keep the forefront of the housing crisis that we have locally in front of our policymakers. We have to challenge and continue to challenge them to do so. But the other thing that we've done too is also bringing in community, because we need to equip them with information and also resources so that they can also address their council members around affordable housing as well. Because it's not just nonprofits doing the work or organizations doing the work. The community has to be involved as well. And so the best solution that we have for that is making sure that we bring the voices of community members in the room, that we equip them with the information, the resources that they need so that they can also talk, because they listen to their community and their constituents before they listen to us sometimes. And so making sure that they're equipped and they have all the information that they need, that allows them to speak in the same language that we're speaking in, that brings their voice into the room, and then it also helps to move policy along as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really happy that we kept that question in just to talk a little bit more about the ecosystem and what needs to
Yes.
be present to ensure that we can support not only home buyers and homeowners or people looking for affordable housing, but also the actual organizations and community members and what it looks like all of us working together to ensure that we bring these creative solutions to life. So I am going to pivot really quickly. So we do want to hear from people in the chat. We want you to think about your community and what you've seen as successes. So feel free to use the Q&A box to answer this question as well. In your community, what strategies have been most effective in addressing trending housing challenges? And we also have a few questions coming in for you, Phyllis. So let me pull up this questions box and see if we can get through as many of these as possible. So we have a question from Michael Murphy. This is for Phyllis. Do you have any experience in SIP housing construction versus the typical stick build construction? The use of steel and concrete in lieu of wood.
I have not seen that in our community, but we're not a developer, but I know that they're doing all types of creative things here, or trying to do creative things locally. But that's really not a space that we're in terms of the construction of affordable housing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you did mention that that some builders have opted in to participate in building homes that are in a specific price range, right, to better support the community. How do those opportunities come about? What does that look like, or how do you keep track of those developments?
So we have very good relationships with our developers as well, especially
Mhm.
those that are building the affordable housing, because one, when they're building, they want to make sure there's homeowners that are actually ready and available to us as well. So we've had the opportunity to go in, also help them with, well, this is what homeowners want. This is what they need. They want a garage. So if you're building, to make sure that you include that amenity as well. They want to make sure that, they have sidewalks, and they want all the things that you see in any other neighborhood. And so just providing that feedback to them. And it has worked, and they've listened, and they also have heard us in terms of when they get ready to build as well. We've got some good relationships with a number of our developers, and also Habitat for Humanity as well. We do have one particular development that's going up that is actually rental, and it is a collaboration with one of the local churches, Atrium Health, and then also one of the local foundations. And it is really about workforce housing. And they're going to build about 323 units of affordable housing in an area where you have not had any rentals built in forever. And so the church actually took the lead on that. And then the foundation actually did $1 million investment. And then they're going to actually have on site health units. And then also it's really about workforce housing as well. So that's an exciting thing because we hadn't seen any development in the east part of town for quite some time. So we thought that it was very creative.
Mhm.
And it is working. And it also Winston-Salem State University is also involved in that as well. So it's exciting that all those entities came together to make that possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, thank you for asking that question because it definitely sparked a conversation that gives us a creative solution for the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited. My mom teaches at Winston-Salem State University, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Right.
call her after this and be like, "Have you heard of this
Yeah.
new thing coming down the pipeline?"
It's
Um,
already there. They've got the buildings up. Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Okay. Well, Phyllis, I want to thank you so much for taking this time to share a bit of not only your passion, but your expertise with us. The work that you're doing down at FPP along with your other team members is definitely shining through and dare I say, serving as a program model or an organization model for other people who are looking to affect change in their communities around this. So again, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for everyone that participated in the Q&A. And we are really happy that we had another opportunity to learn together and talk together. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.